Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Thursday. The markets were a little mixed today, but we'll take a look at it, what's going on there. We'll take a look at the miners as well. The miners were up for the most part. There were a couple that were down. Bitcoin was up, actually down. Ethereum was up today. The markets were mixed. We'll take a look at all those. We'll also take a look at Terawulf, dilution. Stock sinks today 34%. There's this open letter from the CEO. We'll take a look at that really quick. We're not going to go into the details on it too much, but we'll just kind of go over it. And then we got CleanSpark Marathon going to the moon, man, with their production and possibly their stock. We'll see. We'll take a look at it. So outstanding January production from both of them. We'll get into all the details on these guys here towards the end. Okay. And as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, and I'm invested in buying coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. Okay, let's get into the markets here. So S&P was actually up today 1.47% to 4,179. Dow Jones was down 0.11% to 34,053. NASDAQ was up nicely today. It was up 3.56% to 12,803. Now Bitcoin was actually down today. So it was down approximately 1.02% on the day. It closed at 23,493. After reaching a high of 24,262, but it came back down under our resistance line here at 23,800 roughly. It's been battling with that for quite a while here. We touched it once, twice, 3 times. We went above it on the 4th try. Couldn't do it. We came below it, and Bitcoin is up now a little bit. It's up 0.38, 0.39% roughly to 23,580 something and change. Okay, looking at the RSI, the RSI has come down a little bit. Price is now at this point, if we go back far enough back, it's actually higher than it was, so that's kind of a good sign there. 4-hour chart, we're looking at it as well. RSI has come back down to 56. Last time we were at 56 was right about here or so. Price was lower at that point. We're still higher, so that's good. But you can see here on the 4-hour chart how we were battling with this 23,800 line for quite a while here. We battled it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, so almost 24 hours. In 24-hour span, we've been battling it, and it just couldn't go above it for some reason, so we fell back down. If you look at the 1-hour chart as well, we can see here that on the 1-hour chart, we were really battling with it here, trying to get above it, but we just really couldn't. RSI now is at 47. Last time we were close to that was back here, and price at that point was actually a little bit higher. So we'll see if we have a reversal happening here on the short time frame, and if that's going to lead to Bitcoin price possibly falling a little bit right now, right? It's been battling with that resistance line at 23,800. The more times it battles it and it can't get above it and close above it, we are more than likely going to be falling down on this one, okay? So something to be mindful of. Ethereum was also up today. It was up just barely. It was up 0.07% today to a close of 1,643 at a high of 1,714. We are up a little bit more now in the new day at up 0.47% to 1,650. And let's take a look at, see how that one's shaping up on the RSI. It's at 58 right now. Last time we were back here, price was lower at that point, so we are still looking good there, at least on the 4-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, RSI is at 48. Last time we were back here, looks like pretty close to it. Price was up a little bit higher than that. So we're kind of seeing the same thing happening with Ethereum as Bitcoin right now. Okay, so let's take a look at the miners next. The miners were, let's see here, Annie was up 7.01% to 40 cents. Argo was up 11.57% to $2.12. They had a nice day today. BitDigital was up 5.62% to $1.69. Bitfarms was up 3.6% to $1.15. Cypher. So Cypher is going to be a new one that we're going to be covering here shortly. I'm going to be doing a deep dive on them, possibly over the weekend if I have time to get all of the press releases. I have to go through all the press releases, all the financial statements that they've provided, and come up with my spreadsheets for them. So that might take me a while. I'm hoping to have that done this weekend. And then they were up really nice today. They were up 44.93%, but they were almost, I think they were up 100% at one point today. So if we look at them from the bottom to the top here, they were up almost 100%, 96.96% it looks like, roughly. So they had a really good day. CleanSpark was up 12.35% today to $3.64. They also had a really good day. Cores continues to go up pretty crazily. They were up 18.54% to 49 cents. Those of you that bought back at the low here at 4 cents, you guys are doing really, really well. I think I said this before. I tried buying it, but my trading account just wouldn't let me because they don't do over-the-counter shares, you would be up right now 1,186% at this time frame. So anybody that bought that low, congrats to you guys. DJ House was down today 2.53% to $1.93. DMG was up 8.48% to 27 cents. Greenage was up 6.07% to 91 cents. Hive was up 11.02% to $4.13. Hut 8 was up 11.57% to $2.41. So Hive and Hut pretty close together. They had a really good day as well. Iris Energy was up 13.55% to $2.43. They also had a nice day today. Marathon was up 6.38% to $8. Mawson was up 1.92% to 53 cents. Riot was up 9.18% today to $7.49. They had a great day as well. Soluna was up 16.05% to 48 cents. And then Terawulf was down 34.9% on the day. Excuse me, they were down a little bit more than that, but they kind of bounced up towards the end. They're at 67 cents now. So the story came out yesterday. We covered it here. You guys can check out that video. It was basically about them diluting more shares to pay down some debt and extend the debt out a little bit longer. And that's why this stock kind of plummeted today. And that is it for the miners. So overall, a really, really good day for the miners, except for two, it looks like. And Terawulf had just a terrible day. Okay, let's take a look at the network hash rate, see what's going on there with Bitcoin price going up and everything. If we refresh this, actually it's been coming down here. On the 7-day average, is down to 280 million right now. Yesterday, when we covered it, was 289. And let's take a look at the 1-day average on it. It is actually going back up to 283 million right now. So it is starting to spike up a little bit. Okay, that's it for that. Let's take a look at our first story here, which is going to be on Terawulf. So Terawulf issues an open letter to shareholders from chairman and CEO. I'm just going to go over the main points of it here. And, he's just talking about how this is a good thing for Terawulf shareholders alike, for them to continue their outstanding growth that they've been having so far this year. So he goes into about debt modification, which we covered yesterday's video. He's saying the company to pay down principal when we have available free cash flow instead of adhering to mandatory payment schedule. This is huge for them. So that is going to be huge for them. Positive path to positive cash flow from operations in 2023 and beyond. So they're thinking once they get positive cash flow, they're going to be in a much better position. And let's see, where did he say it? We have said all along the amount of monies required to achieve free cash flow positive operations, and we have now reached that important milestone. So they are getting to that point. Unparalleled management investment. He goes into saying that as part of our recent and likely final capital raise, my co-founder and CEO, Nazar Khan, and I purchased an additional 2.5 million of equity at the market price. So this, I think, is actually really good. Anytime you see CEOs, higher ups, buying shares in the company at the open market, that definitely builds confidence that they believe that the company is going to do well going forward. And I would agree with this. I think this is a great thing for them to do this. It definitely shows that they have money in the game, I guess you could say, right? So I think this is a good thing. Let's see here. Next, he also wanted to address something. So I also wanted to address the confusion out there regarding the perceived sale of stock. For the avoidance of doubt, I did not sell 12 million shares. I exchanged shares for warrants to free up available authorized common stock ahead of our shareholder meeting later this month to increase the company's authorized common shares. So this was also, I think, a positive thing that they've done there, or at least he did, which I believe is a good thing, right? He's basically betting on the company to do well going forward, that they're going to be able to get out of this debt hole that they're in. Okay, so I think this is a positive. And then he goes into talking about the Wolf Advantage, the leading facilities that they have. A lot of them are powered by nuclear power, low costs, also rapid growth that they're talking about. They are planning to get within the next few months to be at 5.5 exahash. So that's good there. Expansion capabilities that they have, capital investments in miners and infrastructure as well. And energy advantage. This is where they talk about their where was it? I thought I saw it here someplace. 2 cents, here it is. Fixed power cost of just 2 cents for 5 years with no margin requirement and with options to extend and expand. So this is really good for them. And this would be one of the lowest prices. I'm not sure if that also includes delivery fees or not. I think the 2 cents is just the electricity production fee, basically. And then price and efficiency, well, that we'll have to see when they provide more numbers for us. And that is it. So overall, the letter was good, and I think it was a good timing for it, especially since they're going to be diluting like crazy. So putting that out there, I think kind of helped a little bit of the bleeding that happened today in the market, but we'll see what happens tomorrow, right? They are going to be diluting, I think, right around 30-40%, something like that, if this all goes through. And this was a good way to possibly stop some of the hemorrhaging, okay? So we'll see what's going on there going forward. Next that we got to talk about is CleanSpark. And CleanSpark is actually over here. So CleanSpark releases January 2023 Bitcoin mining update. They had a great month along with Marathon. Marathon we'll do next. We'll do CleanSpark first, and then we'll get into the rest of it here. So here's CleanSpark release. It's pretty simple. We're not going to go too deep into it here. Just going to do a quick quote from the CEO. So we had a banner month, and not just because we mined a record number of Bitcoin, said Zach Bradford, CEO. We also had our most reliable month ever, achieving 98% uptime across all of our sites. So that is huge. That was definitely a huge improvement from what they had in December. December also had the winter storm, which impacted things as well. Okay, so January Bitcoin mining update. This is unaudited. So Bitcoin mining in January was 697, up 50% from December of, well, just last month. Total BTC holdings as of January 31st was 301 BTC, up 32% from December of last month. Total BTC converted for operations and growth in January was 624. So they sold quite a bit here to fund their operations and growth. And then they currently have a deployed fleet of about 66,000 latest generation Bitcoin miners with a hash rate capacity of 6.6 exahash. That's an increase of 7% from December as well. And it's up 214% from January of last year, the same time. Then they also provided here January daily BTC mined averaged at about 22.5 Bitcoins and reached a high of 24.2, which is really, really good. So great numbers from them. And let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them. We'll go through some of the things here, and then we'll get into Marathon as well. Okay, so CleanSpark. Shares outstanding is about 74.5 million. That's being calculated by taking the market cap of 271 million, dividing that by the stock price of $3.64. That's kind of what we're getting at with the shares out. And let me see here. Current hash rate is 6.6 exahash, future hash rate of 7 exahash. So they're pretty close to being fully installed with what they have already purchased. They are planning to get about 16.6, I think, by the end of the year, potentially more. If they're able to pull this off, we'll see. They did a great job of last year, growing from 2 exahash at the beginning of the year to 6 exahash at the end of the year. So, and that actually beat their guidance that they were posting earlier in the year, trying to get to, I think it was 4.5, 5, and they definitely beat that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they beat that again this year, unless something really drastic happens. Okay. Next, BTC HODL is 301 coins here, so that's valued at about 7 million right now. And you can see here their BTC production by month. We're going back to April here. Their prior best month was in November, where they mined 535 Bitcoin. Then December was a bad month, and that was mainly due to the storm. They were down to 464 Bitcoin in that one, and then a huge increase here in January to 697 Bitcoins. Their efficiency also increased tremendously here to 105. That is the best they've had since, looks like September, where they were at 107 BTC per exahash right now. Okay. Now going into their production here, as far as what that actually means, that means that having mined 697 Bitcoins, we're using the average Bitcoin price for December, which is around 20, I think it was 20 some thousand was the average. They generated about $14.1 million in revenue. That is a huge increase for them from last month in December. It's almost what is that, 100% increase, 7.8 almost. It's a huge increase for them. And like 79%, something like that, 79% increase in revenue just in 1 month over the prior month. Let's see here. What else do we have here? They sold 624 Bitcoin. That gave them about 12.6 million to fund operations and fund growth as well. And let's take a look down here. The miners that we did install for January wasn't too many of them. It was only, let's see here, was these 4,000 miners, looks like 400 petahash that were installed here in January. That got them the extra 400 petahash to get to them to the 6.6 exahash. Now, based on everything, looks like they were mining for, based on my calculations, where the network hash rate was at the end of the month, beginning of the month, the average of those, and the Bitcoin price as well. I have them pretty much mining at 31 days, except for the new miners that were installed. Those were only in about 30.6 days, so almost a full day as well. Like they said, 98% uptime for this past month. That got us to the 14.1 million as well. And if we look at their revenue, it is up 79%, 79.6% from December month. They're also increase in production per miner increased by 11.55%. So on average, they were generating about $6.9 per miner. In December, they were only doing $6.19. That is also contributed by Bitcoin price going up in value, and also a little bit of a decrease because the network hash rate went up quite a bit as well. Okay, but that's basically what they accounted for here in January. Okay, so those are the miners that we have here. Institutions did increase here, 266. Shares also increased to 17.5 million from the beginning of January here at 17.3. But percentage owned actually decreased to 23.56% from 24.26%. I think this is mainly because of some share dilution potentially happening here. That's why we're seeing more shares increasing, but percentage owned decreasing. It's got to be share dilution. Okay, we still have one strong buy rating, three buy ratings, and price target stayed the same here at $12 for the high, $8 for the average, and $5 for the low. Okay, so looking at all that, we can come back over here, and then we're using, as far as my estimates, where the stock should be, we're using the current last 3 quarters, or this current quarter that we're in, which is Q1, or I think for them it's Q2, but this is just an estimate. So if Bitcoin stays where it's at right now, network hash rate stays where it's at right now, this is kind of where they would be if they mined for the full 28 days in February, 30 or 31 days in March as well. This is kind of what their revenue could be. That's going to definitely change for us, depending where Bitcoin goes and where the network hash rate goes as well. It could decrease if Bitcoin stays the same and the network hash rate goes up, or if Bitcoin goes up in price, this will definitely increase as well, and depending just where the network hash rate goes up. Okay, so that's kind of the estimated one here for the last 3 quarters. I'm using the 2 quarters that are now final. We have the results for those. And then the Q4, which is I think their Q1, is going to be an estimate right now because we don't have those numbers yet. So this is kind of where I'm estimating. And I've been pretty close here in September. I'm hoping to be pretty close as well for the Q1 quarter as well. We'll see how close we are to that once they provide that information. So based on all that information, then if we look at 50% net income from gross revenue, so it's basically we're taking 50%, cutting it, and for expenses, things like that, we're sitting at 50%. I think with a PE of 20, they should be around $17.58. And if we're using 75%, where it becomes more profitable for them to be mining Bitcoin, depending where Bitcoin price goes up to, we could be at $26.37 with a PE of 20. Now, will they get to that within the next 3 months? Probably not, unless Bitcoin goes up to like 50,000 potentially, right? This is more aligned with Bitcoin going towards 40, 50, even going to 80, 100,000 down the line. If that happens, then their PE could also go up to 30, 35 or something like that, because there's just a fear of missing out and everybody's going to be buying in, and you get this huge rush of people driving the price up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. But they are right now at $3.64, so still way undervalued in my opinion right now. And this is kind of my price target on right now as where they might potentially be. Within, I would say 10 to 15%, maybe 20% of that, somewhere around there, I think would be a fair price for them right now. Okay. So with all that said, congratulations to the CleanSpark team. They had a fabulous month. Hopefully they can continue this trend going forward into February, March, and going forward. We also need to see what they're going to be doing as far as expanding. They want to get to 16.6 exahash by the end of the year. They're going to have to start, releasing some information as far as buying either miners, facilities, or something like that to give them that growth that they need, because they're going to need quite a bit of it. So yeah, we'll see. Otherwise, I have no qualms on it. Let me know what you guys think of this. Are you guys happy? I'm guessing you guys are going to be happy with it. If you're unhappy with the results, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, but otherwise, I think this is just a fabulous month for them. I'm hoping it continues going forward, and we continue to see continued growth month over month. That's why I'm saying we need growth. Okay, so that's it for CleanSpark. Let's take a look at next one's going to be Marathon. So Marathon Digital Holdings announces Bitcoin production mining operation updates for January. They also had a really good month as well. Let's take a look at it here. and we'll get into my numbers as well. So they provide a lot more information than CleanSpark did, but we'll try and digest through it relatively quickly here. Okay, so here's a little comment from the CEO. With Bitcoin production increasing and becoming more consistent, we made the strategic decision to sell some of our Bitcoin as previously planned to cover some of our operating expenses and for general corporate purposes. We intend to continue to sell a portion of our Bitcoin holdings in 2023 to fund monthly operating costs. So I actually think that this is a good thing. Now, we've talked about this in the past in other videos where we've kind of tracked their wallet that has been selling it. Let's take a look at that wallet here. That wallet is here, and it looks like to be right on the money. So we can continue to track this, see where things end up at. And we weren't sure if they were selling it or moving it over to another account. We now have confirmation that they have been selling it. They sold 1,500 Bitcoins. So we will keep track of this wallet to see where things end up. Now, they could move things over into another wallet, and we're going to be kind of screwed in this regard. But we'll see what happens. It's nice that we can see it. We can see how they're doing as far as also how their production is and everything else. So this is kind of cool. Now, as far as them selling, I think it's a good thing. I think you can do both. A little bit of a hodl, whether that mixture is 50-50, 60-40, not sure. I don't care what that is. But I think instead of just diluting shares and killing shareholders in the process, to hodl everything that you mine is just crazy. So I think a conservative effort somewhere in between of hodling and selling is a good thing, in my opinion. Let me know if you guys agree with this, if you guys disagree, or, I don't know if there's a better strategy where you don't dilute shareholders so much and still be able to do it. I think this is a kind of good mix, okay? So let's take a look at further here, Marathon's information. So they remain confident in our ability to scale Marathon into one of the largest and most energy efficient Bitcoin mining operations globally by installing approximately 23 exahashes of computing power near the middle of 2023. So I think this is a change in wording here. I think they used to say by the end of the first half. Now they're saying the middle of 2023, somewhere around there. So it seems like they're pushing the can a little bit down the road, but that's fine. They're at 7 point something right now, exahashes. Getting to 23 is basically a 300% increase from where they are right now. They are getting there, but it just all depends on when the miners get energized. So if it happens in July or August sometime, I don't think most of you are going to care. I'm not going to care about it as long as they get it done. They had a really tough year in 2022. It's finally nice to see them kind of having a pretty good year so far in 2023. We'll see if it continues. Okay, so BTC produced was 687, so this was just a little bit lower than CleanSpark, but pretty close to them. And then operational energized hash rate is at 7.3. We did install some miners for that to get them up to that. And we'll take a look at my spreadsheet here that I do have on them. Let's see here. Oh, let me see. Here it is. With production improving, Marathon opted to sell 1,500 BTC during January, so that coincides with the address that we're tracking on them. And let me see if there's anything else. I think that is it. They did talk about the where was it? The shareholders agreement to create the Abu Dhabi global markets. Nothing new here on that one. They point everybody to the investor relations website for the 8K filed on January 27th. We talked about this. You can take a look at the other video. It just seemed like it was missing a lot of information that could have been in there. Like the other party that's in there was kind of vague, not a lot of information on them, things like that. But we covered it in the other video, so I'm not going to get into it here. All right, so that's all we have here. Let's take a look at my spreadsheet on them, and then we'll call it a day. So let's see, where's Marathon? Marathon is over here. So Marathon has 160 million shares outstanding right now. Stock price is at $8. Market cap is 934 million, which is pretty good. Their current hash rate is 7.3 exahash. Future hash rate is going to be 23. They're about 31%. They still have about 216% growth left in them, which is going to be tremendous, and that's definitely going to help them grow here, their Bitcoin production monthly. Their BTC HODL right now, that has to be updated. I forgot to update that. It is at 11,418, and they have about 3,000 or so of that's encumbered as collateral, I believe, on debts, on the loans. So, but they do have that many. Their production, you can see here that their production as far as BTC for the last 12 months, it got really low here in the summer months. They had problems with their facility after a storm hit it. So they were down to 72 Bitcoins in July. Then they went up to 184 in August, 360 in September, had a great month in October, 615. Then for whatever reason, they went pretty flat here in November and December. They did a lot of curtailment during that time. They were at 7 exahash at that point, and now they're back up to 687, which is now their current new record for them. Efficiency as far as BTC per exahash, their best month was possibly June, but June was the month where they actually had the power outage at one of their facilities because of the storm. And this is just one of those things that's, I probably should have used a much lower or maybe higher exahash for them during that month, but that's how they got to 214. That is not aligned with what they have in the past. Their other best month was going to be in July, 103 here, and then they went down to 57 in August, which was pretty bad. 97 in September, October was 87, November went down to 67 along with December, and then now they're back up to 94. Love to see them get up to about 100, over 100, to be in line with some of the other miners that we have already information from, like CleanSpark and Bitfarms. We'll see where Riot comes in at also, but they're pretty close to that, so that isn't too bad. Now, the efficiency is going to continue to go down on all these miners, especially as the Bitcoin network hash rate continues to increase. That efficiency is going to go down, unfortunately, unless you start getting more of the miners that are 140 terahash, or eventually in the future we'll get probably 200 terahash miners that are even more efficient, if not higher on that. But that's the only way you can maybe combat that. Okay, so as far as revenue is concerned, with the 687 Bitcoin that they mined in January, they generated about 13.9 million, based again on the average Bitcoin price for January, and then the network hash rate averages and things like that. Or not the average, that doesn't go inside here. It goes inside the miner part of it. This is just on Bitcoin alone. Okay, so that was a nice increase for them from the 8 million that they had in December. And with them selling well, 1,501 Bitcoins, they generated approximately 30.3, almost 30.4 million in revenue from that. Based on the average, I don't know exactly when they were selling kind of throughout, so I think the average would kind of coincide with this as well. Okay. Now, as far as January update here for the miners, looks like we installed 2,150 of these 140 terahash miners to get them to the 7.3 that they reported as having. We have the revenue at 13.912, which is right in line with what we have here. So we're good there. And then it is an increase of 72% from the December revenue. So that's good there. That's pretty good. And they're also up 11.55% as far as increase in revenue generated per miner per day. Okay, so that's good there. Now, as far as institutions are concerned, institutions did increase a little bit to 301. They also increased, actually shares decreased a little bit here, it looks like. So that's, let me take a look. No, they increased 45 from 43. That's an increase. So those increased. Their percentage owned also increased to 38.77 from 37.63. So that's good there. And then we have the ratings, or the analysts, price targets, and buy-sell ratings. It changed a little bit here. So strong buy is now 1. It was 2, so that went down. We still have 4 buy ratings, and the hold increased from 3 to 4 this time around. And then as far as the price targets are concerned, the high stayed the same at 20. The average went down to 1191, and the low went down to 4. So we have that information there. Let's see if it coincides with what I have for them for the current quarter and the last 3 quarters. So again, for this one, we're using the current quarter, which is an estimate of Bitcoin price stays the same where it's at, network hash rate stays where it's at, and they actually mine for the full pretty much months here. They've been having a hard time doing that, so I'm guessing it's going to be a little bit lower going forward unless they are 100% uptime for each month. Now, also we're using the last 3 quarters. The last 3 quarters also includes the December ending quarter, which is an estimate as well. And then we're using the 2 prior quarters for that, which are actual numbers that they provided for us. So we do have 2 that are right on, and then 1 that's an estimate on there as well. So with all that being said, they are, at least I have them at 115 million right now for the last 4 quarters, this quarter and the last 3 quarters. And if we use the 50% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $9.89. They said for the average, I think the analysts had it at $11.81. So it's pretty close to where I have them. And then the 75% net income, I'm looking at $14.84. Now, given that they are going to be growing potentially quite nicely here, I could easily see them getting a much higher PE multiple. And they're only $8 right now. So, I mean, they're getting pretty close to where I think they should be valued at. But they also run up pretty well in the bull markets. We saw last bull run that we had When Bitcoin went up to 69,000, they went up to like 60, 70, $80, I think. Can't remember now, but they were way up there. So they can definitely do that. And if they actually execute on all their growth, I don't see them having a problem getting to that price point again, maybe even higher, depending where Bitcoin goes. But we still are a ways out for all these companies. I mean, we're still at second month here, and we are about, what, 12, 14 months away from the next halving event. After the halving event is usually when Bitcoin pumps, and that usually lasts about 8 to 12 months after that. So we still have a long ways to go. I'm sure we're going to be bouncing in price and going back down and going back up and going back down, and something's going to come up where there's going to be FUD, and then we're going to fall back down. We're going to go back up. It's just the nature of the course here. So I think from where they are right now, this is one of the best months that they've had in a long time. It's great to see. Want to continue to see them executing the way that they have been. If they can do that going forward, I see no problem with the stock going 5, 10x from where they are right now. Okay, let me know if you guys agree, disagree. Let me know if you guys like the quarter or the month production updates, or if you didn't like it. And if you didn't like it, why didn't you like it? Did you think they could possibly do better? I mean, they could have done a little bit better. They were, operating. Let's see here. I think they were only operating for, what did I have them? It's one thing we didn't cover. December, they were operating for 18 days out of the month. In January, they were operating for almost 28 days of the month. So they were only down for maybe 3 roughly. So that's still really, really good, right? If they can keep that or get it a little bit closer to the full month, they're going to do just great. And they just got to execute on getting the miners energized, installed, and up and running. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, the spreadsheet is going to be available to my Patreon members. I just want to say thank you to everyone there. We're getting more and more members joining there every week. So that's exciting to see. And then we're getting more of you guys joining here as well. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it greatly. If you guys have any questions, comments, hit me up on the comments down below. Love to hear from you guys. As you know, I pretty much answer all the comments that do come my way while I can. And I try to get rid of all the spam as well. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Have a great night. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.